Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents Hitched, The Top 10, by G.K. Derosa, narrated by Sarah Puckett. Chapter 1. I raced down the spiral staircase, the black smoke billowing around me so dense that my eyes water. My lungs struggle to suck in air amidst the suffocating smoke, but I force my legs to keep moving. Where is everyone? I searched the black for Faustus, Ariella, the guys, anyone. The manor is empty. Did they already get out? A tremor shudders the ground beneath my feet, and I stumble over the last step and land in a heap in the middle of the grand foyer. The floor vibrates beneath the plush carpeting I luckily landed on. I tighten the tie around my robe and take a minute to catch my breath before pushing myself back up. Big mistake. I suck in a mouthful of smoke and cough like crazy, hot, fiery pokers stabbing my lungs. I leap toward the entryway and whip the double doors open, scrambling to get away from the choking black air. The moment I'm out, I gulp in a big breath, only to discover columns of smoke wrapping like tendrils across the lawn. The grass is charred, and the beautiful angel fountain has been reduced to marble rubble. It looks like a war zone. Half men, half animal creatures battle just beyond the wrought iron gate encircling the compound. The clash of their weapons and guttural howls reverberate across my eardrums, and all I want to do is run back into the house. But I can't. The heat from the fire trapped inside nips at my shoulder blades. I must keep moving. Sprinting down the steps, a spine-tingling shriek pierces the early dawn sky. My eyes shoot up to a massive golden dragon sailing overhead. Phoenix. An emerald green one darts up beside him, and the pair circle over the manor grounds. Phoenix? Flare? I reach out to them mentally, like Phoenix had done when he saved me from plummeting to my death after my parachute malfunctioned on our skydiving date. What's going on? Nothing. Phoenix! Flare! I try again to no avail. Staring up into the murky sky, more shadowy forms take shape. The unicorns. A herd of rainbow-winged horses gallop over my head with bow and arrow-wielding riders. What in the world? A volley of white-flamed projectiles flies toward my boys, and I hold my breath. I wish I'd asked Phoenix more about what can and can't kill dragons. Dragon Phoenix and Dragon Flare dip and soar, dodging the blazing arrows and weaving between their attackers. More dragons of every color suddenly appear on the horizon, and they dart into the fray. Their enormous bodies dwarf the unicorns, but the flying horses are more nimble and easily evade the dragon's fiery breath and sharp talons. A few errant flaming arrows land atop the manor, setting another corner of the roof ablaze. So that's where the fire came from. Another blood-curdling screech sends my gaze whipping to the sky. An arrow protrudes from Dragon Flare's chest, and he's falling fast. No! My chest tightens as I watch helplessly as the enormous emerald dragon plummets to the ground, the earth trembling beneath my feet on impact. Steadying myself, I race across the driveway to the tennis courts where Dragon Flare lies unmoving. The battle rages on above my head, but I don't dare look up. Sliding to my knees, I hover beside the enormous creature's head. His mouth is open, tongue hanging out, and he's panting heavily. I ignore the sharp teeth and run my hand over his snout. He closes his eyes and makes a low huffing sound. "Are you okay?" I whisper as my gaze runs down his body. A glistening arrow made of a strange crimson metal sticks out of his chest, moving up and down with his haggard breaths. His scaly skin is covered with deep cuts and burns. How long has he been fighting? Flare, can you hear me? His eyes flutter open. The green of his irises is a ghostly reflection of its normal deep emerald hue. He huffs again, but doesn't answer me. Dark blood oozes from the arrow wound. A strange shimmery liquid mixed through it, quickly pools beneath his body. Are these arrows poisoned? I need to do something, but I have no idea what. How can I help you, Flare? Please tell me what to do. I encircle my arms around his thick neck and press my cheek against his rough skin as tears fill my eyes. A sharp crack reverberates across the sky, loud enough to drown out the surrounding sounds of battle, and I crane my neck up once more. The clouds part and a fissure splits the dark blue in two. From within the break in the atmosphere, a troop of angels spew forth. Cillian? At this distance, their faces are a blur, nothing but figures with sprawling wings joining the fray. If it is Cillian, then maybe he can heal Flare. Isn't that what angels do? A twinge of hope unfurls in my chest. The big dragon chefs, and I turn my gaze back to him. Hold on, Flare. I'm going to get help. I leap to my feet and wave my hands in the air, jumping up and down. Cillian! Help! More winged human figures approach from the east. But unlike the angel's feathery white wings, these appendages are half the size and nearly transparent. They, too, carry an assortment of weapons. And now the 4 distinct groups engage each other in battle. Oh, my stars. Focusing my eyes above, I search for Cillian's broad shoulders and golden hair. Somehow I know he has to be up there. Even squinting, it's no use. They're too far, and I can't make out clear details. A blazing sword slices through the air, striking one of the unicorns. The animal rears up on its hind quarters and expels its rider. My breath catches in my throat as the limp body plunges toward the earth. Help him! I cry out to no one. Why won't anyone help me? Another man on a unicorn dives to reach his falling comrade, but a dragon swoops down, blocking his path. He's going to hit the ground. The realization freezes the blood in my veins as I run toward the spot, the body's apparent trajectory. The figure hits a tree, sliding through the top branches, and lands with a sickening thud on the burnt grass below. I reach him seconds later. As I creep closer, nausea claws up my throat. Wisps of platinum blonde hair cover a familiar face. Elryan. I sink to the ground beside him, my eyes intent on his porcelain skin. I don't want to focus on the unnatural contortion of his body. If I close my eyes a little, I can pretend he's only sleeping. I lift a shaky hand to his face and stroke his cool cheek. My shoulders shudder, and a sob builds in my tightening throat. Tears stream down my face as I caress the fey prince I never really got to know. All around me the battle rages on, the clang of swords and ferocious beastly growls only yards away. My feet are planted to the spot, not wanting to leave Elryan, but a part of me needs to check on Flare. There's nothing I can do for the fey prince now, but maybe there's still hope for my dragon. Lowering my head, I brush my lips against Elryan's. A chill has already swept through his body, and now invades my own. I'm sorry, I whisper before running away. Darting back to the front of the manor, the stabbing pain in my chest lessens at the sight of the enormous dragon. The end of the arrow bobs up and down slowly, confirming a haggard breath, but a breath nonetheless. I collapse down beside him and stroke his pointy snout. Flare, I'm here. Please tell me how I can help you. His lids open, the green impossibly pale as he regards me with eyes of a man, not an animal. You have to choose, Kimmie-Jayne. It's the only way to put an end to this. His faint voice tickles my mind, and I'm half certain I only imagine his words. What do you mean? His eyelids droop closed, and his words echo in my brain. Kimmie, you have to choose. Kimmie. Kimmie. Kimmie, wake up. Flare's deep voice draws me back from the brink of darkness. Like a lost ship at sea, I follow the rough timber of his voice to shore. My eyes snap open, and I jolt straight up. Flare? You're okay. I wrap my arms around his neck and pull him in tight. There's no war waging around us. In fact, the house is silent. Too silent. I glance around and recognize the pink walls of my bedroom. I spin to the left, but Flair stops me. No, don't look. The blood. Aaron, dead in my bed. All the ghastly images speed across my mind on fast forward. Bile creeps up my throat, and I think I'm going to be sick. I gag, and a second later, Flair has me in the bathroom, leaning over the sink. He holds my hair back as I retch again and again. Though he doesn't say a word, his presence is soothing. His heat radiates through his shirt as he hovers behind me. Finally, when there's nothing left but my hollowed-out stomach, I rinse my mouth with some water, splash a bit on my face, and then straighten. Flair's emerald gaze catches my eye through the mirror. Are you okay? I shake my head. The battle had only been a dream, but this reality is nearly as bad. Is that Aaron out there? He nods, his lips pressed in a tight line. My knees wobble, but Flair's there to catch me. I lean into his chest as his arms wrap around my waist to steady me. Stay in here. I'm going to get help. He lowers me onto the toilet seat and brushes his lips against my forehead. I resist the urge to cry out for him to stay. I don't want to be alone with that ghastly scene only a few feet away in my bedroom. He turns to the door, and I bite my tongue to keep from stopping him. Just close the door, please, I mutter. At this angle, I can see the blood dripping off the corner of my bed. Flair marches out of the bathroom, gently closing the door behind him, and I wrap my arms around my torso to keep from falling apart. I only hope I can hold the pieces together until he gets back. Chapter 2. A rush of voices seeps through the cracks in the door. Muffled gasps and curses coming from my favorite executive team. 2 light knocks resonate on the wood. I draw in a breath. Come in. Dax fills the doorway, his deep lavender hair hanging over his eyes. Oh, sweetheart, are you all right? I fiddle with the hem of my black gown and shake my head, refusing to meet his gaze. I can't. I don't want to cry again. Flair pushes his way by the director and crouches down beside me. Gently rubbing circles along my bare back, he whispers soothingly. I can't believe this is happening. Shep had promised the accidents would stop once the big reveal was over. It hadn't. If anything, things were escalating. Speak of the devil. Shepard and Tyson appear in the doorway, neither wearing their signature expensive suit. If I wasn't so upset about Aaron, I might have commented on their abnormally casual attire. Are you okay? Asks Shepard. For once, something like emotion flashes across his typically cold gray eyes. I cock my head. What do you think? He steps further inside the bathroom and leans against the countertop. I almost warn him to be careful for puke splatter, but I just don't care at this point. I'm very sorry that you had to see that. He clasps his hands together, and it's the first glimpse of vulnerability I've ever seen in this stoic man. Not as sorry as Aaron. The words tumble out of my mouth before I can stop them. Tyson looks horrified, and I don't blame him. It was a horrible thing to say. I fold over and bury my face in my hands. We need to ask you some questions, continues Shep. Flair cuts him off with a growl. You can't be serious. She's been through enough. Give her a second to recover. She passed out, for God's sake. How long was I out for? The dream seemed so real, but it could have only been a few minutes. As rattled as I am about Aaron, I can't shake the disturbing images from the dream either. Anger ignites from the hollowness in my gut, and I glare at Shep, Tyson, and Dax. You guys said we'd be safe. You said that once the truth was out, everything would stop. If we'd only suspended production, Aaron would still be alive right now. At least Shepard has the decency to look ashamed for once. I know. It pains me to say that I was wrong. I never thought that whoever is behind this would go to such lengths to keep us from airing. Why? Why would they? None of this makes any sense to me. Shep's expression darkens, and the blank mask he usually wears slides back on. I don't know. Liar. I grunt and rake a shaky hand through my hair to smooth out the thick tangles. If you don't need anything else from me, I'd like to be alone. I need a shower, bad. If only the hot water could wash away the ickiness seeping into my pores. Shepard nods. The police will be here shortly. I'm sure they will want to ask you some questions. Right. Sam, Dax's assistant, appears and weaves her way past the execs to me. Come on, hun. Let's get you out of here. Flair helps me to my feet, and I follow Sam, making sure to shoot Shep and Tyson scowls on my way out. Dax's gaze is glued to the floor, so he misses out on my flagrant disdain. Flair takes my left side, his bulky frame blocking the gruesome scene on the bed. A part of me wants to look back, to get one last glance at sweet Aaron, but I suppress the urge. I don't want to remember him that way. As it is, I doubt I'll ever get the ghastly image out of my mind. Numbly, I trail behind Sam toward my old bedroom. Flair's arm is tight around my waist, his big body lending me strength. She opens the double doors to the master suite, and I never thought I'd be happy to be back here. The fake, or not fake, unicorn head pales in comparison to the horror in my former bedroom. Do you need anything? Sam asks. Her usual no-nonsense look is miles away. I think she actually feels sorry for me. You got a Valium? I'm only half kidding. I'm exhausted, but I'm fairly certain sleep will not come easily tonight. She clicks on the headset wrapped around her neck. I can see what I can do. I shake my head when she starts whispering into the speaker. Nah, forget it. I'll settle for some of Auriella's herbal tea, if you got it. That I know I can do. Sam spins toward the door. I'll be right back, she calls over her shoulder. I let out a sigh, and Flair leads me toward the ginormous canopied bed. I'd forgotten how beautiful it was. He pulls out a corner of the comforter and motions for me to get in. I'm torn between exhaustion and the desire for a hot shower. My body weighs a ton, dragged down by the mix of sadness and anger swirling through me. Come on, firecracker. He tugs me onto the bed. You don't have to sleep if you don't want to, but you should at least sit down and rest. Okay. I crawl in, the mattress sinking beneath me like a heavenly marshmallow. I glance up at the anxious emerald eyes regarding me, and my heart swells. Flair, I had the most terrible nightmare when I passed out. You were dying, or at least your dragon was, and Elryan was dead. There was a huge battle going on right on top of the manor with all these crazy supernatural creatures. Phoenix was there, and Cillian too. It was the most bizarre thing. His dark brows furrow, his lips straightening into a tight line. That does sound strange. I'm not surprised, though, with what you'd just seen. He leans closer and sweeps a strand of hair off my forehead, trailing his fingers down my temple. Just rest now, Kimmie. Everything will be better when you wake. Will you stay with me? Of course. He sits beside me just as Sam reappears with a mug of tea. She hands it to me with a small smile. Auriella says this will put you to sleep in no time. My fingers curl around the cup, and its warmth seeps into my chilly palms. Taking a sip, I swirl the jasmine and apple blossom fragrances around my mouth. My eyelids begin to droop, and I wonder if this is some sort of magical concoction, but right now I'm too tired to care. A few sips later, I fall into a deep, dreamless sleep. A feather-light touch skims across my cheek, and my eyes flutter open. A part of me is annoyed by the disturbance, but the other half can't deny the flicker of heat the gentle caress elicits. Sky-blue eyes hover over me, and I start, the absence of the green I'd expected startling me. Cillian? How do you feel, Angel? I suppose I should be asking him the same thing. With everything that's happened, I haven't had a second to process all the guy's supernaturalness. And here, sitting right beside me, is an honest-to-goodness angel. An angel I am tempted to do very naughty things with. I push the wayward thoughts aside and focus on Cillian's worried expression. I'm okay, I guess. I glance at the clock on my nightstand. I only slept for a few hours. Where's Flair? He's talking to the detectives, so he asked me to sit with you. I'm sorry to wake you, but they'd like to speak to you now. Ugh. Anxiety unfurls in my gut like a churning tornado, and I pull the covers up over my head. Talking to the police about what happened will make it real, and I'm not ready for that. Cillian tugs at the comforter, and I peer over the edge of the soft linen. I'm sorry, Kimmie, but you have to. I know. I shove the sheets back and run my hand through my hair with a sigh. Do I have a sec to take a shower? I'm still wearing my fancy ball gown, and I'd rather not face the police in the over-the-top attire. Cillian shoots me a smile. I'll see if I can stall them, if you promise to be quick. Deal. I jump out of bed and scurry into the bathroom. Stripping out of my black dress, I can't believe all that has happened in the past 24 hours. First, I discover the supernatural identities of each of the men I'm kind of falling for. Then I lose one of those men and see my first dead body. Then the freakishly weird dream, and now I'm about to be interviewed by the police about a murder. How did this become my life? A few weeks ago, all I cared about was finding an acting job and not being late to work at Pollo Loco. I step into the shower and the sultry warm water pelts my skin. I wish I could wash away everything bad that's happened in the last few days. No such luck. Chapter 3. I can't stop my knee from bouncing up and down, or the trickle of sweat from snaking down my back. The intimidating gaze boring into me from across the coffee table makes me want to curl up into the fetal position. The detective clears his throat and repeats my name, so I'm forced to meet his piercing amber eyes. I'm sorry. What was that? I mutter. Detective Maxim asked if you had been back at your room at any other point during the party. I happily divert my eyes to the woman detective as she slides to the edge of the cushion. She's not half as intimidating as her partner. They're both dressed in plain clothes, which surprises me since I was expecting typical police uniforms. But then again, the detectives did generally dress differently than the cops on TV. Not to mention the fact that we aren't even in LA anymore. How did Shepard get the police here so quickly? And do they know about supernaturals? Detective Risen clears her throat, drawing my attention back to her question. No, the first time I returned to my room was with Flair when we found Aaron. I gulp, my throat tightening. That's Flair Skyraider, correct? She asks. I nod, and the two detectives exchange an odd glance. Maxim sets me in his sights once again, and I suppress the urge to flinch under his fierce glare. I imagine this sort of situation would lead to quite a few jealous or scorned suitors. Is there anyone you believe would have wanted to hurt Aaron? I quickly shake my head, and then lower my gaze to my clenched fingers. Aaron was nothing but sweet to everyone. None of the guys had any reason to hurt him. You are aware of what Aaron was? My eyebrows shoot up, nearly reaching my hairline. What he was? I croak. Maxim lets out a frustrated sigh. Yes, Miss Starr. We understand that there had been a big reveal the night of the murder. I know that you know about the supernaturals. Now just answer my question truthfully. But how did they know? Wait a second. You guys aren't LAPD, are you? Ryzen shakes her head, her pale green eyes softening. No, Kimmie-Jayne, we're not. We're from the SIA, the Supernatural Investigations Agency. So you're from here? From Azar? She nods and opens her mouth as if to continue, but her partner cuts her off. Miss Starr. Maxim growls, his amber irises pulsating. We're the ones asking the questions here, and we'd appreciate it if you would simply comply. Sheesh. I guess I kind of knew what he was. My mind flickers back to the golden sign plastered across each of the bachelors' chests during the big supernatural reveal. An elemental wielder, whatever that is. I think it has something to do with controlling air or wind or something. A wry grin twists the detective's lips. It's a bit more than that, but suffice it to say he was quite powerful, as are the majority of the males congregated under this roof. I can almost guarantee he was not murdered by a human, which is why we were brought in. The SIA is responsible for all matters of order within the mystical borders of Azar. I'm shocked that he actually answers my question in his own way. I really don't think any of the other guys would be capable of such a thing. Or could they? How well do I know these men? Detective Ryzen gives me a tight smile. Miss Starr, you're new to this world and its intricacies. Having 25 powerful men under one roof battling it out for the attentions of a beautiful woman is a recipe for disaster. My lungs falter, and my breath catches in my throat. Did someone kill Aaron out of jealousy? Maybe it had nothing to do with the big reveal at all. Maybe it was all my fault. Images of my encounters with Aaron flashed through my mind. There was nothing, not even an angry word toward him by any of the other guys. But there had been other scuffles. Luciano getting pummeled by the rejected bachelors on the first elimination and Ryder. He was always in the middle of some sort of altercation. What about the bachelors that were sent home? I ask. Maybe one of them came back. Maxim scribbles something on a notepad. We're looking into all of them as well. Okay, good. Ryzen whispers something to her partner, and I suddenly wish I had super hearing. I chew on a hangnail while they continue their muted discussion. The woman stands and excuses herself, leaving me with Detective Scary. My skin prickles the moment the door closes behind Ryzen. I so don't want to be alone with this guy. Only a few more questions, he says, smoothing down the front of his meticulously ironed button-down. Did you have intimate relations with Aaron? All the saliva disappears from my mouth. So embarrassing. He clears his throat forcefully, compelling my eyes to meet his. No, I mumble. Have you had intimate relations with any of the men? Heat crawls up my neck and floods my cheeks. I squirm in my seat, crossing my legs. Why does that matter? I finally choke out. A sexual bond would heighten the jealousy factor. Certain supernatural creatures are known for their possessive natures. Now please just answer the question. He pauses and drills me with those citrine irises. Believe me, I get no pleasure out of this. I grunt and fold my arms across my chest. I did not have sex with any of them. But you have done other things. Holy awkwardness, Batman. I've kissed a few of them. He straightens and pulls out his notepad once again. Names, please. Luciano, Cillian, Phoenix, Flair, and Ryder kissed me, but I'm not sure if that counts. Wow, do I sound like a hussy? I pause because there's one other person I've kissed, but I don't want to get him in trouble. Maxim glances up at me from his notepad. Anyone else? Crap on a stick. Do I tell him?
Sample complete. Ready to continue?